Hey guys, so we have another video here, this time of the Hexpacks from Battletech. There are three Hexpacks. There's the cities and roads, mountains and canyons, and lakes and rivers. And so I'm going to start off with the cities and roads. So before you is one side of the cities and roads hex map that comes with the pack. So you have various buildings. You can see it's a city block type setup. And so down here at the bottom, you're going to have things like the level 1 terrain. You're going to have level 4, level 3, a couple smaller buildings. Then as you get further down the map, you get to level 8s, level 6s, and you have a level 5 over here. Up here at the very top, though, is more like a city hall or some sort of skyscraper, something like that. So it goes from level 2 to level 6 to 24 to 30. So it's a pretty big building. So on the back side of this map is going to be another play area. This play area is the exact same as the one you get in the intro box. And if you notice, there's a bunch of roads going everywhere. It's pretty much like this for the entire map. You also have lines saying where mountains should be, such as your level 1. And it seems like there's a lot going on. And so we actually haven't even used this map side because it's just really chaotic in the way it is, and even putting other terrain on there would just make it look more chaotic. So it's unfortunate in that they included this one from the intro box set in the expansion. So it's kind of a con to the pack, but this is a pretty neat setup here in the city. So next up is the pamphlet that comes with it. This little pamphlet's pretty neat. It talks about what's on the front. What's on the front is the tiles that come in the hex pack, just what they do and all that. And so inside you move on, you find a scenario. So the scenario comes with a pre-made map that you could put together for the scenario itself. It also has different forces inside, so you can determine who's fighting who. It goes on to victory conditions and special rules. There's also a second scenario. So you get to see the pre-built map there, as well as the attacker and defender again. After this, it goes into some advanced rules, such as how strong buildings are and different terrain. There's also planetary conditions, such as black ice or light bog, thin snow. These are things that you would find in the TAC Ops Tactical Operations rulebook. And then the final 2 pages of the book are a mission that would go well with the starter book for Sword and Dragon. So you can build your forces there. And so that's the whole pamphlet. It's a short pamphlet, but it's got a lot of neat stuff inside of it. Things to try out if you don't have the Tactical Operations book. Next up are these hex pieces. So these are individual hexes to change the layout of a map. So as you can see, there's a lot of rubble. On the back side, you're going to have buildings. So like this building, for example, has an exact replica of it as if it was collapsed. So you see how there's 2 water hexes? You have your 2 water hexes right there. So this rubble is also very useful because right now we are in a Word of Blade campaign. With all the nukes and everything, there is a lot of destroyed buildings. So this plays well into the campaign that we are in. It also comes with some road right there. Got some roads there. A couple smaller buildings. We also have some more roads and rubble. And some more buildings in rubble, or buildings in pavement. So you turn the buildings into rubble. From here we have single hexes. These are pretty neat, so you can add some woods in an area. You can put clear hexes if you want to erase something that's on there. You also have some smaller buildings that are used a lot. On the back side, lots of rough and rubble. Now the last one is a very large building, up to level 8 right there. And there's a couple things around it, a couple smaller buildings around it, as well as a piece of road. And then we also have a much larger road piece, so it can be like a city center where pretty much all the roads lead to here and then go to somewhere else. So a couple options to really change up your maps. So say for instance you got this level 6 building here. Say there's a massive accident right here, car slammed into it. Boom, there you go. Now you have rubble hexes because the whole front of the building came down. So there's a lot of stuff you can do. And you can have buildings collapsed all over the place, a couple small buildings, you can destroy buildings and they become rubble. So there's a lot of neat stuff that you can do with this hex pack. So the next hex pack we have to talk about is mountains and canyons. So this board is kind of chaotic, just in the way the artwork was done. Once you look at it for a couple minutes, you can really get the feel of what's going on. So you basically have you got ground level hexes in this area right to the middle, and then you're going to have some sub levels over here. So you kind of got a little dip into the ground here. You have a level 4 here, level 3 here, 4. And then here you got level 2 going across, level 2 going across, and some more level 2 in this corner here. So you kind of have it going, you got a ravine right down the middle, you got some level 2s on the sides, you got level 4 or 3, you got some high spots right here, and then you have some sub levels over here with some woods mixed in, kind of right here, over here, and you have some rough terrain like where there was a landslide. So this is a pretty neat map. Kind of have to stare at it for a few minutes to really get the idea of what's going on. Just the artwork is just kind of a little hard for me to see anyway. On the back side is a very large mountain. So basically this would be good for a King of the Hill type scenario. So just looking at it, we have right there in the middle, you have up to a level 12. You got a river coming out of it. You have just various levels going around it. So once again, the artwork, it's a little funny for me. So you have, let's see here. You have some level 1s over here to level 3, level 6, 7, 8, 10, 12. And then you also have it over here. We got level 6 and level 5. So this is like a larger mountain on the side, or a large mountain right next to it. So it's kind of a flatter area to run around in. And so this would be good for something like King of the Hill, obviously. So lighter mechs will probably be the kings on this map, as you know, if you're trying to go up 1 or 2 levels, it's going to cost a lot for non-jumping mechs. So you know, it's a neat map, but it's just the artwork that kind of throws me off anyway. Next up, we have the pamphlet, just like in the Seas and Roads ones. So we're just going to talk about the map a little bit, talk about the hexes, plus minus levels. Then you're going to go into your first scenario here. So it's going to talk about your scenario, what's happening. It's going to give you a build using the hexes and the cutouts, and this is actually using the forest map from the intro box set and just adding a mountain range to it. Next up, you're going to have your next scenario, and this is using the flip side of this map for the canyons, and it's got a mountain range right next to it, so there's a lot going on. So next up, we're going to finish up that scenario we're at. Then we're going to move into the enhanced options. So this is where we're going to get into talking about new terrain and different things you can do, such as leaping. This one even talks about climbing a hex that may be 3 or more levels higher. So there's some neat things in here that you can try out, that I'm interested in trying out in some of our games. So you keep going, you have your different terrain conditions such as a vacuum. And then once again we have another Wolf and Blake. Well, this is a Wolf and Blake one of the missions. So now it's the same starter book, but Wolf and Blake. And so same idea. You get to build your force and then fight off the attackers. So it's a couple neat things in this pamphlet, and it's unique compared to the other 2 sets. So next we're going into the cutouts. So these cutouts add a lot of neat features to the game. So if you look at these, you're going to see level +1, +2, different pluses. Now what that's supposed to mean is it's plus whatever's underneath it. But really, if you're thinking about it, when this tile is laying on the board, you don't know what the level underneath it is. You literally have to move each tile every single time to find out what the level underneath was, and then add 2 to it. So it doesn't really flow well with the game. Whenever we use them, we just count it as what the level is. So that would just be a level 2 hex. So we have level 4 right here, a larger piece of hill, and then we have this is actually a really good hex right here. So basically you could get a mech up in here, camp him in there for a while, and then he gets partial cover from pretty much all the directions in front of it. So that's a really good hex for that. We have a sub level here, so -1. On the back side, we have some more sub levels. So we have some rubble inside these sub levels. So you may be trying to go underneath people's line of view or line of sight, but you run the risk of tripping on the way down there. Now we have some more single hexes. These are much like the other ones where you have a lot of rubble and rough, but this is more done as though it's been a landslide rather than a collapsed building. Over here we have a couple more buildings, a couple more trees, and some sub-levels. Then we get over to the big hexes, kind of like the big building from the Cities and Roads. So here's a pretty big mountain, level 4s, level 2s, and we also have some rubble on the sides and some sub-levels. Over here we have some sub-levels and some higher levels on the sides, so kind of like a ravine. And then here we have some more sub-levels, level 1, 2, 3, so you can start climbing up a mountain. And then you have a couple bigger mountains right here. So there's a lot of variation. You can add a mountain range to each of your games, and we use these a lot right now because it's the jihad. So we got a lot of cities being destroyed. We're using a lot of city hexes, but in more rural areas, these mountains will really come in handy. So next up is the unicorn of the Hexpacks. This one is so incredibly rare. When you see it on eBay, you'll see it going for $50 to $60 to $70. Like, these things get expensive. This one I managed to find through BB Trader, so I'll put a link in the description. And this is a used one, and I got it for regular price. They didn't price gouge me. They were great at helping me get it, and it was a really good experience working with them. I also bought a couple of the Gen Con dice with the faction symbols on them from them. Very good people to buy from. But this is the Lakes and Rivers Hexpack, and you're going to see here we got a huge lake. It kind of has the lines to the mountains, but these are a little more clear since there's not much lines going through them for roads and stuff as compared to the Cities and Roads intro side. So we have a mountain here, we have a mountain here, or well, a hill here, another hill over here, and so basically a large body of water here. On the back side, you got a little bit of a mountain range and a river going alongside it. So we got some trees here, a mountain that peaks up at level 5, and then we got some more mountains up here. So level 3 with light woods, so that'd be pretty good defensive position, sitting in the woods real high up. So this pack, because it was used, unfortunately did not come with a pamphlet. But we don't really use the pamphlets, and I have the Tactical Operations book, so really any of the information in there wasn't really necessary, so I was more than happy to get it without the pamphlet. But my guess is, like the others, it would have 2 scenarios with some pre-built forces and some of the TAC Ops planetary conditions, as well as one final mission in the back. But here we have these hexes. So you get a lot of water hexes, so you can build your different rivers however you want. They can go in any direction anyway. You have your woods and blank hexes. Next up you got some more rough and rubble, so you got some avalanches or anything down the side here. You have just unique water hexes for different rivers. And I really like the artwork on these hexes. They're very easy for me to see, especially in this whole hex pack. So you have a lake right there. And you can build more. These rivers are 4 hexes long, so these are longer pieces of water, so you don't have single hexes laying all over the place. Same over here on the back side. This one comes with a big building, something you could use like a dam or something. And on the back side we got some more water. So a small lake, just this neat little goes around it. I mean, you could make like a fortress or something there, kind of like a medieval castle, and have that be like a defensive position or something. So this Lakes and Rivers hex pack is really cool. I really like the artwork on this one. I can see it very easily, and it was actually very cool. I created a scenario for a mission we ran a few weeks ago, where basically it was a massive heavy storm. I put water tiles all over the map, and when you have a heavy rainfall with rapids water, you basically have mechs that are slogging around through a bunch of mud, and then when they finally get to the river, it's a harder piloting skill roll to see if you fall in the rapids. and then your mech falls down, gets swept away a couple of hexes, and it's actually a very fun scenario once people start feeling their piloting skill rolls and getting swept down the river. So it's a neat thing. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do with water, and water is also a great way to hinder mechs. So say if you're playing a pickup game and people see the map before building their force, it'll force them to use some variety. Maybe a couple mechs with jump jets, a couple mechs without jump jets, and it'll really make them think about what they can do. So these are the 3 Hexpacks. There are intro hex boards on sale on eBay every few weeks that I check. So if you wanted to get a couple more of the intro box set boards, you can combine those all together. You can combine these together. There's a lot of options you can do. If you look back, there were map sets that were released in the paper form, and those they aren't very sturdy, but they're cool. The only issue that you have with those, as well as these, is the folding lines in between them. If you saw some of the boards when they were laying on the table, you could see how they were folded up along the creases. So a good thing to do is to show up early, lay out all the boards, put some rule books on top of them, just some weight to flatten them out, maybe bend them in the opposite direction so that way you kind of get a little stretch so they lay flatter. So I mean, it's just maintenance to deal with keeping them down. They're very cool things to add into the game. And one con about these is they aren't laid out in the same way as the intro map sheets are. So if you look at the intro map sheets, you'll see the hexes, the way they're cut on the edges, are not the same as the way these are cut in here. So it takes a little playing with them to see how they line up, or maybe you have to play the game with the hexes all connecting just a little bit off. But as long as everyone's cool about it, and you guys just remember which hex is which hex, it's everything works out fine. But these are very cool, and I'm very happy I got them. Like I said, the Lakes and Rivers one, that thing is a unicorn. It's extremely hard to find, and when you do, it's extremely expensive. So just keep your eyes out for them if you can. The mountains and canyons in cities and roads, they run for about $20 on eBay or even at your local gaming store. We even have 2 of these sitting on the shelf at our local store. Just buying these alone for the single hexes, the cutout hexes, is well worth the buy, because you can change any map to how you want it to be. So these are very cool, and unfortunately, last I checked on the Ask the Leading Developers Battletech forum, is they don't have any more of these in the pipeline, so these are it for a while at least. There have been rumors of new ones coming out on different websites. That's not true, because I posted a link from one of the websites, and they said no, that's garbage. It's not real, because they were taking pre-orders for it. So I can only imagine how many people's money they had taken. And from there, you're going to have other people are going to be building their own. There's a pretty popular thread on the Battletech website of a guy who's making his own that you can print out using printer paper, or just different types of paper you can get out of the printer. I'm interested in at some point in seeing if I could get some cardboard and printing on that, so I can add to those different unique hexes. And so there's also been one promo one that's been released. I don't have that one, and various ones that can be printed off from PDF files and such. So there's other people trying to expand on this, but right now for official sales, the only ones available are these 3. Thanks for watching.